In this tutorial, we're going to be taking a look at the securityProbe series and how to add a sensor to the securityProbe. This tutorial applies to the securityProbe 5ES and the 5ES-V series, as well as the 5E series as well. So let's jump in and get started. The first thing that you can see is we're on our summary page, but what we actually want to do is we want to go to our sensors page. Now before we do that, on our summary page you can see that we have our main module, and you can see that I've already connected two sensors to the back of the unit. So to see those sensors, let's go to the Sensors tab. Okay, now I went and I said that I'd actually connected two sensors. That's because this is a dual sensor, and you can see if I hover over that there, that it actually goes to the dual humidity, dual temperature. So in order to get to this information, let's go ahead and just click on dual sensors. Okay, so now you can see that we've come to the page for our dual temperature port 1 sensor. So the first thing we can do again is we can change the name exactly as we did in the SensorProbe series. So let's change this to dual temperature in Office, so it's a bit more descriptive. The next thing we can do is we can play around with our critical and warning levels. So there's two ways of doing that in the securityProbe. We can do exactly the same thing as we did before by altering the numbers manually in these boxes, like so, or we can actually use these blue arrows here and we can move them up and down the scale to alter all of our values. And you can see that when we do that, all of this will update as soon as we hit the save button, which we'll do now. Okay, so this is now saved, and you can see it saved all of our settings there. Below that we have our current reading of 28.4 Celsius, and we have our status and the online status. So that's how you go for the basic settings. If you want to go to the more advanced settings, you can see we have a tab here, and this will take you to the advanced settings for every single sensor, where you can choose to change from Fahrenheit, Celsius, and we have all our other rearm settings here, along with if we want to enable a graph, and also if we want to assign a URL to this sensor. All fairly simple stuff, even though it says advanced. The other options that we have here is our continuous time settings and our minimum time settings. If we go here, essentially what this does is, this is where you add in the allotted time that you want this sensor to show a critical state before it actually shows the critical state or notifies you. So for example, if we wanted the sensor to be in a high critical state for 15 seconds before you received a notification, then you would enter 15 in here and it would change to 15 seconds. And also we can have the minimum time settings. So exactly the same thing again, but we can have a minimum time here, say 2 seconds before it would alert you. So we'd go ahead and we'd click save. And now we've changed our settings. And that's exactly the same for pretty much all sensors, unless you use one of our specialty sensors, in which case some of this information will change, but it will also be very, very similar. So that's how you add a sensor in the securityProbe 5ES.